This is Lost Between Analog and Digital, an unscripted podcast from an angsty millennial. I'm your host, Kay. So lately I've been trying to get back into walking. I used to go quite frequently in the evening or night all my life up until about COVID. And I'd go get a coffee, maybe take a cigar with me or whatever. It's a couple kilometer walk between going down to the coffee shop, doing a couple laps of the brook and the way back. So nice relaxing way to kind of kill a night. I stopped around COVID. The two footbridges in the brook were pretty up, and I think they had to do repairs or whatever. But so I'm just trying to get back in the habit of going back out and everything. So yeah, when I'm out for my walks, and I just try to think of like what kind of content I want to cover for this, and kind of hash out how I want to tell the story, and then come home and make some notes on that. And so trying to come up with some ideas. This story actually popped into my head, and it was about one of the nights I went out for a walk with a friend. So yeah, would have been the summer of 2012, around the time I stopped drinking. So I was trying to find different stuff to do on my like Friday, Saturday nights that did involve going out to a bar. And my friend Kelly, her boyfriend at the time, was in a course in Halifax or somewhere for the summer. So um, we end up just kind of hanging out in the evenings or whatever, going getting coffee, um, go for a walk or something. So it would have been one of the first nights we were going for a walk. We head down the brook, and we're finishing up our coffee. So we head down and start walking in the brook, and at about the midway point, there's these like retaining walls that used to be made out of like railway ties or wooden posts or whatever. But they dug it out around this time and put in like a brickwork, like some kind of landscaping brick or something. So we stopped there to finish our coffees and have a smoke or whatnot. So we're sitting there and we're just chatting and whatnot. And all of a sudden, Kelly gets really tense, and she's like, don't move, kind of thing. So I look up the path, and there's this small fox coming towards us. And Kelly's right tense, and she's like kind of hiding behind me, and she's like, don't move. So when this fox sees me, it puts its head down, starts kind of acting all erratic. Its ears go back, and it starts making this like weird kind of chattery noise. And so Kelly's like obviously freaked out, and I was like, it's fine, just relax. And so this fox is coming closer, and it's coming really slow with its head down and its ears back, and it's just it looks so bizarre. And then it starts speeding up a little bit, and I was like, no, I was like, it's fine, just relax. And so the fox is getting closer, and it comes and jumps up onto the retaining wall that we're sitting on. So Kelly is standing now. She is probably about 2-3 meters away from me, and she's like, "Come on, Kay, let's go." Like it's, I was like, "No, it's fine. I know this fox." And she's like, "What? No, you don't know a fox. Like, come on, let's go." And then the next thing she knows, the fox is in my arms, and I'm picking it up, and it's sucking it, and it's just squealing, and it's so excited to see me. And the whole time she's screaming at me to put down this fox that she thinks is rabbit. And she's like, "Hey, it's not funny. Put it down." And I was like, "No, I know this fox. Like, we're friends." And oh, I absolutely love that fox. So a year or so previous, when I used to go do the walks around the brook at night, we had a really harsh winter, and there was this really young fox that had just very distinctive looking. She had like a brown brindle marking through her. So I was walking around the brook, and it would have been more. I think it would have been daytime in the winter. I don't know if it was like if I was on lunch break or something or whatever, whatever the case was. But I remember like it's weird to see a fox out in the day, and she was so emaciated. So I ended up going up to the coffee shop that was just like a block or two away, and getting a sandwich with no sauce on it, and I ended up going in the brook and finding her again, and I fed her the bits and pieces of the sandwich, just kind of threw to her, and went on my way, didn't think anything of it, and it's the only time I've ever fed her. But she has never forgot me since. And every time I would see her, she would get all excited, and she would get excited and kind of run around and stuff, but she wouldn't come close to me, and then she would kind of like get bored and leave, or would kind of just be my general vicinity. And then that kind of progressed over the next few weeks or months, that she would come a little closer, and like she would run up to me and kind of bolt and like in the direction I'd be heading, so like trying to get me to chase her or whatever. And then that came up, or got to the point where she would just walk up to me right calm and like lick my hand or something, and then just, or like yap at me and whatever. I feel like I wouldn't have been down the brook for a little bit, or maybe I just hadn't seen the fox for a little bit, because she was so excited to see me that she was foolish. And it's the only time she's ever let me pick her up, but she literally like dove into my lap. I was sitting. Most times she would come up and like she would like, I'd be able to like, scratch her head or something, and she would kind of get excited and run around and run off. Yeah, I swear I probably took like, a year or two off Kelly's life with the expectancy, with the amount of stress I caused when I have a fox in my arms. And at the time I had a ferret and stuff, so she was like, she knows I'm used to having bizarrely behaved animals that are just whatever. But it was just absolute such a sweet fox. I should have named her or something like, but would see her for years down there, and then eventually she would have passed on or whatever. I think their life expectancy in the wild is like 5 years or so. But yeah, like every time I would see her down the brook or in kind of the area around, she would always make such a big fuss and get so excited and everything. And it was just such a nice moment, and it was like just that one act of kindness that she kind of never forgot. But I've always kind of had a weird relationship with like the foxes in my town, that I've befriended multiple of them, not to the extent of that vixen, but in the area where I live, just where I'm always up or out walking and stuff, and they would see me a lot. A lot of the foxes just kind of got used to seeing me around, and that's like I've walked down the street where one of them has basically been like, step and step with me for, you know, um, like a block or two before it decides it needs to cross the street or whatever. I had a fox run up and lick my hand and run off. Another time that wasn't the fox that I befriended down the brook. That would have been in my neighborhood. But yeah, like just as a kid, I was always really good with animals and everything, and that. And I ended up going and working in a pet store for a few years. During COVID, we had I think it was a pine marten, or tried to get into our store. Me and Andrew watched it run up and like jump at the glass, and was like, "Oh my god, is that somebody's ferret?" And then when we got a good look at it, we're like, "No, that's a wild animal." We walked out into the parking lot, and this was just when lockdown started, when like nobody was around, and like everybody was like, "Oh my god, there's deer in my yard," because there's no traffic anymore. But we were a pet store, and corporate said we were essential. So we watched this. Uh, like 90% of it was a pine marten, but I think Nova Scotia or Cape Breton's the extent range for the pine marten. Yeah, so we watched this, you know, animal frolicking around our parking lot, and so we got bored and go back in, and this woman comes running into the store, and she's like, "Did you guys lose a ferret?" She's like, "Oh, I'll help you catch it." And we're like, "No, ma'am, it's a wild animal. We're not going to catch it." And as Andrew was explaining to this woman that it's a wild animal, somebody calls, and he's like, "Did someone lose a ferret?" He's like, "It's outside my truck. I can scoop him up." And I'm like, "Sir, do not grab that. That is a wild animal." So in the span of about 30 seconds, we had two people willing to get mauled and have rabies. So yeah, no, I've always kind of been good with the local wildlife. The one thing that I don't get along with too much though are raccoons, and not that I've really had any major issue with raccoons, except at the pet store, Kyle. who is there's no way to put it. He's an oxygen thief. He is so useless, like so useless, and to the point that it is weaponized incompetence. It is not some deficit. It is not whatever. He just doesn't care. Would go put the garbage out and not lock up the back warehouse, like leaving the bay door open. Why? I don't know. Maybe because he wasn't explicitly told to go down, put the garbage out, and then close and lock the bay door. So on multiple occasions, we had raccoons get into our back warehouse, and we don't rent the back warehouse. We receive through it, and then we take it into our back storeroom. But we're allowed to keep stuff in the back warehouse for like 48 hours or so. Just just a courtesy, whatever. And we're allowed to keep our garbage overflow and stuff out there because they rather it be in the warehouse than out by the dumpsters, whatever. So yeah, the number of times that a raccoon has got in our back warehouse, and I've had to like chase it out with a shovel or a broom or a mop or something. And they're like, if you've never encountered a raccoon, they're the most unbothered animal for the most part. The first time I had to chase it out, I had a broken snow scoop. It was a plastic shovel, but the plastic on it was cracked. So I somehow got the raccoon in the shovel, trying to push it out the door, and it just looking up at me like, what? Like it was just. And then when I just about got it to the edge of the bay door to nudge him out, he was like, "Oh no, I'm not going out," and just rolled out of it and just walked by like nothing happened. So I had to go and grab him again. Warren had my assistant manager. Um, he had something similar happen where he had to fight a raccoon out with a shovel. I think that might have been because of John. But every time I've had to fight a raccoon or a squirrel or whatever, it was mostly because of Kyle. The only other time I had to deal with a raccoon was a few years ago. One got into our attic, and just one night, it was a mother raccoon, and the baby fell through the ceiling. And I had to get the baby that was completely unbothered after it crashed through a ceiling and was walking around clicking. I had to get it into a laundry basket and get it outside so the mother could get it. While I'm trying to get it, because it's not going too far from the hole that it fell through, because the mother's calling it and it's just walking around doing its own thing. The mother's hissing at me, and there's a hand coming through the ceiling. So luckily, I had bear mace or dog mace or something for hiking. Probably not even legally allowed to have it. I think I had to get it online from another province. So I'm not even 100% sure, but I had. But so I'm trying to get the baby raccoon in a laundry basket to cover with a sheet or a blanket or something. While this raccoon is like grabbing at my shoulder and like growling and hissing, so I'm trying to not mace myself with bear mace, and I didn't spray the raccoon directly. I know how sensitive their smell is, so I was just trying to put that scent in the air to force it to leave. So I took the baby outside, literally just dropped it in the side yard where I figured out where the raccoon was able to get in pretty easily. And then I just went back upstairs and just put a few spritz of mace through the hole in the ceiling just to make the attic not appealing to them. It was the weirdest thing. It felt like something out of the movie Gremlins because it was just a detached hand coming out of the ceiling trying to, and it was this weird it just sounded like a really angry cat. It was like hissing and then growling. And then when I got the baby in the basket, it was fine until I started going down the stairs with the up and down motion, and then that thing started growling and chattering and started making noises like it was possessed. Which was, but then when I got outside and dropped the basket and like let it, I didn't know if it was going to come at me like a spider monkey or not. And then it just made this like noise as it just wandered off into the woods like nothing had happened. Or not the woods, like the bushes next to my house. And yes, for anybody that is concerned, I did see the mother and the baby later that night. Like the mother had left and found her baby. So yeah, there are a couple of my wildlife stories. I had only really meant to tell the one about the fox that was in love with me, but got a couple bonus ones there. I appreciate everybody listening. I've been super receptive of the feedback I've got and everything. If you've enjoyed this show so far, please leave a review, comment, likes, whatever platform you're using. It helps out so much. If you can, tell a friend. Probably the best way to support us right now. Just help get the word out. And thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.